Good morning, panelists. We'll be start going live in a couple of minutes. And just to notify saying that each speaker will be getting only 10 to maximum of 12 minutes to have a talk. And later that there will be on a questions in whatever topic you have chosen about. I'll be asking questions being as a moderator. And I think let's start the session in a couple of minutes. And one of our PR wants to have few instructions on you. Renton sir, over to you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Let's start the session in a few seconds. Everyone, this is Niranjan from Planetech Media House. Planetech Media House presents crafting and community information on travel and hospitality editions. I would like to introduce Mr. Dhanush Sevan, our moderator, who is a TEDx speaker, who is a beatboxer, who is a wonderful artist. Over to you, Mr. Dhanush.
A very glad morning to one and all present here. I greet all the panelists who are with us this morning with Planetech Media House. What is Planetech Media House? Planetech is an independent media house who offers reliable source of news, information, and articles. And we also experience across an excellent portfolio of media, video articles, interviews, events in digital and social platform. And we're back again with 20th edition of Crafting Transformative Information, webinar on travel and tourism. Let's get back in the sessions. We have reliable source of speakers out there. And our first speaker would be Swagata Chakraborty, who is a hospitality trainer at GMR Groups. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dhanush. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak about transformative information and how that can be applied in travel and tourism industry. So before I start with the session, I just need to quote a very nice definition given by Metizo, who was an American sociologist and a pioneer in transformative information. He quoted that transformation information is something which brings a structural change in yourself as well as in your relationship. So when we talk about our present classroom scenario, where we go and we teach our students, we need to imply this on a day-to-day basis. If we think about adult learning, like the students who are going for colleges, they are more into adult learning. So when they come in our course and when they join the course, they are, we know that there is a different stages of teaching. There are mainly two stages, which is known as andragogy and pedagogy. So when we talk about pedagogy, it is about child education, but andragogy talks about adult education and where this transformation learning comes into place. So in this college setup, we are more into andragogy and less into pedagogy, and we need to maintain a proper balance of both of them. So to create an environment where educational qualification will be based on more of learning and more of understanding stuffs, we need to create an environment where the students are free enough, where they can come up and discuss about things that they want to share. Each individual has a different perspective. So if we look into the modern scenario, our scenario is not like that in the setup in which we have been taught in the college. So right now, the students have a wide access. They have access to all the informations available on Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. So to make them dependent on your faculties, you need to create an environment where they're free to express their viewpoints. They can come up with suggestions, they can come up with problem solving, which will help them in real life transformation learning. So whatever we teach as teachers, these are all theoretical aspects, but you need to make sure that a student is getting transformed during the course of our office curriculum in the entire college year that they're spending. So let me give you a small example. I am from the hospitality industry background, and I have worked mostly with hotel management institutes. So when I have worked over there, I have seen students, when they come initially in the first year, they are more into the stage of pedagogy stage. So where we are going to get them all the informations, we are going to direct them that this is how your grooming should be, this is how you should behave in the class. But these are something that they imbibe inside them when they go for their training. So that internship for 6 months, that act as a transformative learning phase where they actually get to find out how the industry is accepting them. So if you are working in an industry where the guests are not going to acknowledge you, if you are not properly groomed, you are not going to get recognition if you doesn't behave properly, if you are not polite enough. So that is not going to make you go anywhere in your life. So that transformation only comes when they have gone and actually seen the industry, and when they come back as a better individual, they come back as a better personality. So this is what transformative information is all about. In the classroom setup, we can imbibe this by creating small group discussions, by doing some debate session, by doing some role play session where the students can stand up and speak for themselves, where the students can do different types of case study where they are solving real-time problems. Plus, as a facilitator, you need to trigger the thinking process of the student. So what we can do is we can narrate our own experiences, our own story, because the knowledge-wise, the theoretical part is everything available in Google. But when a student will come to you, will approach you, they will approach you only when they know that you are a reliable person, you have faced such situation, and you have dealt with the situation. So when they know about this, that how you have dealt with things, how you have handled things, and what the exact thing that the industry is looking for, a gradual transformation will come inside them. And that will be reflected in their behavior, in their attitude, in their body language, in their vision, mission, everything. And lastly, I'd like to conclude on a note that as facilitators, if we want transformative learning to be a part of our curriculum, to be a part of our students, we want that to imbibe inside them, then as facilitators, we need to first transform ourselves, because whatever we say, whatever we act, that actually does the change, that actually does the magic. So I believe in walk the talk. So if you are yourself transforming, if you are yourself flexible enough to adapt to changes, you are flexible enough to grab things which are happening around you, that then only you can imbibe that inside your
लाइव चल रहा है
students.
कैमरा है ऑडियो सब लाइव
And that can be only possible when you give real life experiences to them, real life examples to them. You are yourself flexible to changes. You want to adopt different mechanism which will make your classroom sessions much more interactive, where the students are free enough to come up with their experiences, come up with their opinions. They know how to balance their work life and personal life. Then only this transformative learning can be properly implied, and that can be a part of the adult education system in India. That's from my side. Thank you for providing the opportunity, and I will pass on to Dhanush now. Thank you.
That was really great to hear about crafting transformative information. You actually educated everybody saying about what is the particular term used for. And I really liked about the crafting transformative information explanation. But I do have a couple of questions on hospitality and management, which you have been working now.
Definitely.
Yes, ma'am. Hospitality is something where we have to learn in practical.
Right.
We have to be on site and we have to learn it with our own site. And how is it happening because of the corona crisis? We're all staying back home. And how are you educating your students to get into a good hospitality management?
Yes. So right now there are online sessions going on in the classes, but as we know that hospitality is about 80% of practical and 20% of your theoretical knowledge. So what I do is when I am doing something, when I am making some mocktails, or whenever I am making some food items inside my home, so I make nice videos of it. I make some interactive videos of it. I share it with my students so that they can be motivated to try that at their home. And the ingredients are not something which are very, very expensive ingredients which you cannot easily procure. They are very simple ingredients which are almost available in all the local households. So that is one way where I am doing this transformative information, where they can actually sit back at their home, utilize this time, and they can learn something which they haven't done before. Plus, there are many case studies which are being given to them. So when we are doing this online session, it's not only about me speaking or only about me talking. So whatever assignments, whatever projects they are being given, I will take a snapshot, I share it in the online, and the student has to speak on their own. So whatever they want to speak about, suppose I have given them to draw a layout of a particular type of setup. So they are going to present that layout, and they are going to express the ideas. What is the idea behind the layout? Why they have designed it in that way? and what are the positives and negatives. So after they have discussed, then there will be a brainstorming session where all the students, the rest of the participants who are there online, they are ready to speak up, they're ready to give their feedback. And then we summarize everything, we take the major points, and then that is being discussed in the class. So that is how right now the transformative information is being carried out. Because based on the current scenario, based on all the obstacles that we are facing right now as educators, so I'm just trying to do that so that the students are much more active in the classes. They are much more engaged, and they don't feel like that it is a one-way communication only happening where I am only going to speak up and I'm going to just pass on knowledge to them.
That was really creative thought by getting onto this live or food videos you've been making on. But one thing I like to quote about saying that food is something we like to sense and have it done with a delicious taste.
Right.
And do you think that this is going to continue? And how do you justify saying that virtual classes of hospitality will educate more?
Virtual classes of hospitality will definitely is a hindrance, because in this present scenario, it will be very beneficial if we restart our classes as soon as possible. As we know, it is a much more practical oriented. I can judge on the basis of the presentation of the dishes. I can judge on the basis of how they have prepared the dishes, whatever recipes they have made. But the thing that is lacking is the tasting part, which definitely only when we go to the classes and only when we get to taste that, we can judge whether the person is learning or not. But till the time when the things are not getting sorted out, when we are not being able to go to the classroom, at least from the we know that food is not only about taste. Food has different aspects. Food has a presentation part. Food has a eye appealingness. Food has a description to it, like how you're going to describe your dish in front of your customer or your guest. So all this part, apart from the taste part, everything are being discussed right now. So when we are going to start off with the situation, after the situation is over, I hope it will be over very soon. So when we are going to join back, we are going to take it further. The basics will be done during this time, and the further things, the further steps that you need to know as a chef or as a F&B person, that can be done after the situation is once it is over.
That was really good to hear from your side, man. We were actually informative about the hospital management, which has been turning into virtually. And I hope we're all out of this corona crisis and your practical classes start soon and we educate all the hospital students out there. Thank you so much for being on Planetech Media House. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now let's get back to the session of 20th edition of Crafting Transformative Information. And our second speaker would be Lalita Krishnamurthy ma'am, who's an assistant professor, former HOD of Department of Travel and Tourism in Mount Carmel College, Autonomous, Bengaluru. She has a master's degree in commerce from Bangalore University. She has exposure over 24 years in travel and tourism, having served in lead travel agencies like Mercury Travels and Tourism Corporation India. She has a teaching experience of over 10 years. She was awarded by Karnataka Education Society on 25th October 2019. She is a Bangalore Central University representative on Board of Studies and Board of Examiner for various colleges and university in Bangalore. She has attended an organization named the National and International Conference, seminars, and workshops. We're glad to have you here on the Planet of Planetech Media House. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning to everybody. Good morning, Dhanush. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
My special thanks to Planotech Media House and Mr. Niranjan Krishnamurthy for giving me a chance, an opportunity to express few words on this occasion in this webinar. My topic for the day is impact of COVID-19 pandemic on travel and tourism industry. We have witnessed many crises over the years, be it man-made or natural, like Gulf War, terrorist attacks, earthquakes, tsunamis, and various infections like Ebola, H1N1, and then various problems in London airport like fly ash, smog, various problems which are man-made or naturally like tsunami, earthquakes, tornadoes, especially in areas like Taiwan, But all these were manageable and tolerable over the years because it used to be affecting only a particular area. And the activities of the rest of the areas would be normal or near normal. When we had Gulf War after the World Trade Center tragedy, yes, flights would take a longer route, avoid the shorter route, but still travel was happening. But this time, travel is the mean by which the infection is getting spread. The infection originated in Wuhan, city of China. It went through travel, means of travel, it spread, and it started spreading to various parts of the world only by means of traveling people. The people who have traveled and gone have carried the infection. For example, in India, 2 people who came from US and few people who came from Gulf to Kerala were the transmitters of the virus. And this virus is now spreading like a wildfire. And the impact, unlike the various other viruses and various other crises, what we have seen in tourism industry, connected to tourism industry, or the various crises, what we have seen in the global scenario, I'm sure you all will agree with me, we have never come across a national lockdown of a standstill nature. Everybody is going on a lockdown mode. The lockdown has affected every mode of travel, leave alone airline, railway, or bus, even private hiring autos and local transportation is affected. The economic crisis of 2008-9, the Gulf War, the other tragedies were all manageable. We sustained and we came out of it within 3-4 months or 6 months. But here the chances are looking very, very bleak because the impact is very, very high. The problem is travel and tourism industry contributes to 10% of the global GDP. And several airlines have filed for bankruptcy. Several airlines have withdrawn the operations of long-haul flights because of the travel restrictions imposed by the countries due to lockdown. Now, for example, in India, we have our international flights being locked down. We are under lockdown. We have not yet opened the operation of international airlines. And normalcy is expected only by 2023. Because to start with, the fear psychosis is too high among the customers. I travel somewhere, I'll be put in a quarantine for 14 days. I will be put on an institutional quarantine for 7 days. And now people are hesitant to even travel and move to their own relatives' house, leave alone going somewhere else. And there is a job loss of about 50 million jobs worldwide. This pandemic scenario has resulted in problems which are identifiable by means of organized sectors like bid units like Thomas Cook, various other agencies who are able to identify and project the loss. And you have the hotel industry, hospitality, people are scared to go. They are worried what type of infection is infected person had visited that place before. And the hotel industry is also affected because hotels were shut down by the lockdown impact. And this has resulted in hesitation among the people to travel. Now, the new concept of video conferencing and online meetings have come, which will impact the business travel because a person, instead of traveling all the way to Delhi to attend a meeting, would go on a web meeting. After 2-3 years, when the economy improves and when the job scenario and the money, physical money factor improves, only then we can expect domestic travel to pick up, because the fear psychosis is there in the minds of the people that what if I get stranded? Now, for example, in India, you take the instance of Tamil Nadu. It was okay. They were allowing people to move around from one state to another state with e-pass. Now they have gone into lockdown. If someone has gone there, they are not able to come back. If they happen to come back, places like in apartments, they are questioning the people who have come back from the affected area. Are you all right? Are you in quarantine? Are you okay? If you are here, are we safe? So the impact of COVID-19 is unimaginable compared to any other crisis which we have faced so far. Now, Virgin Australia, SAS, Finnair, even Hertz Rent a Car have all gone into bankruptcy. And few airlines have sustained where the country has given them bailout package. And the impact is, if I don't sell even 2 tickets, how will I pay you the salary for the staff? A huge number of workforce have lost their jobs. You have organized, established IATA agencies, and you also have organizedly unorganized small-time operators who operate with 5-6 staffs. And when the going is good, they are able to pay them 40,000-50,000 K per month. So they all are income tax assessees. They can neither go and get benefits as other people, but their employees who are proprietary organizations will not be able to make good the payment and the loss for them because they are not able to pay them. I know 4 or 5 agencies here in Bangalore who are not able to make the payment for the staff salaries. Second, the passengers are also having problem because of the fact I have bought a ticket, flights are cancelled, I can't travel. I put it for refund. Airlines are only giving you credit notes and they are informing you that you can travel any day without cancellation charge, but the money is not paid. The current scenario with the economic crisis and physical shortage of money, the passengers who have paid 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs to the airline for a package to the agency want their money back, but the agencies have not received the money back from the airline to pay it to the customers. So the chain reaction and travel and tourism industry is worstly affected because of this COVID pandemic. More than the actual pandemic, the fear psychosis and the process of operating this pandemic through lockdowns has affected the industry very badly. Now, I would only like to conclude with one note. As long as the mankind survives, travel and tourism industry will survive. It cannot collapse totally, but it is going through a worst scenario, and 80% of the airline industry in particular is under life support. The few surviving airlines are surviving with the help of the bailout packages provided by the government. The hotel industries are having problem. The hotel rooms, the state governments are taking the hotel rooms for people who have come from abroad to stay as quarantine. So that much hesitation has dripped into the common public. How safe it is for me to go for a hotel tomorrow? What type of sanitation? Whether how it is. So this fear psychosis will take some time to settle down, and it will start with revival of domestic tourism, and it would take a long time. Maybe according to WTO, it would take about 3 to 4 years for normalcy to come back for its peak survival. I once again thank the Planotech Media House for giving me the chance to express few opinions.
And I would like to thank her by she had a wonderful talk about impact of COVID on travel and tourism, because this is where we travel at least once in a while, because that is where our mind refreshing goes down. And she also mentioned saying about there is when a human mankind ends, and that is where the traveling and tourism will end. And I really like Lalita Mam's quoting at the end, and I actually wanted to ask a few questions about it, but I guess Lalita Mam have few network issues out there. We'll get back to her after the next speaker. Well, let's get back to the session of Crafting Transformative Information 20th edition, Tours and Travels. And our next speaker would be Himachal Kumar Roy, who is an assistant professor of travel and tourism management at Sharigut College. So over to you.
Good morning to everyone. Namaskar. I'm very thankful to Plantech Media House to give me opportunity to discuss the future of travel tourism, COVID-19 as before COVID-19. I'm very thankful to Danush as well as Mr. Krishnamurthy for the same giving me opportunity to attend present in this webinar. And I welcome all the participants and the panelists to this webinar. As we know, the tourism is one of the biggest industry which generate employment from the grassroots level to the top level. As well, it has a great impact in the global economy. It shares 10% of the GDP. If we talked about India, and India is a very resourceful in terms of tourism. So it has a great geographical locations, beaches. It has 38 World Heritage sites and 10 biogeographical zones. As per the ranking, Travel Tourism Competitiveness Report 2019, India ranked 34th. And as per the ranking of WT, World Travel Tourism Council, Travel Tourism Power Ranking, it has 33rd in accessing 185 countries based upon the 4 key factors. Those are travel and tourism GDP, foreign visitors spends, domestic spending, travel and tourism per capital investment. Since the tourism is very important for the economic development, so the government is also initiating so many plans. If we talked about India, the government has already announced to develop 17 iconic travel tourism sites with the world-class destination facilities in the budget 2019-20. And the initiatives like Swadesh Darshans and theme-based tourism circuits are also harnessing the tourism of India. And without much going in that, I would like to share a presentation. And since if we discuss about the growth of tourism for the past 10 years from 2010 to 2019, it has growth of positive 64% as per UN WTO. It has also impact in jobs. Out of 10 jobs in the worldwide, one is from travel tourism sector, and it has a growth of a global export by 7%. The international arrival is also increased. In 2019, it has 1.5 billion arrivals. This is all data by the UNWTO. Besides, there are crises. There are crises like world global economic crisis, SARC, or attack on World Trade Centers. The tourism has survived. Somehow it survived, and it made the comeback. So if we discuss about the current crisis of COVID-19, without much going in the effect of COVID-19 on tourism sector, because it was already discussed by my earlier speaker. So I would like to highlight on the strategies which we can use to combat this crisis. There might be so many measures are being taken to combat this crisis. The first, I would like to highlight the three major important factors, which are safety, security, and hygiene. The safety and security and hygiene now it becomes the major demand of this current situation. So if we see, there might be changes in policies and SOPs or uh, measures to mitigate the demand of this current situation. So there are certain changes may arise, like change in the visa policies. So if the people still want to travel to other countries, there might be changes in visa policies to mitigate the demand of tourism in future. There may be a high adaptability to hygiene and sanitation practices. Like the sanitation has a different levels of, but the current situation demands the high level of hygiene, which is clinical hygiene. So basically practices in hospitals or the clinical, where the research are going. Then next thing, there might be a mandatory of health certifications. Uh, as we can see, the most of the countries they are trying for the vaccinations, and hopefully by the end of this year, there might be a vaccine available for COVID-19. So the people, those who want for international travel, so the countries they would ask for a mandatory health checkup or a COVID-19 vaccine certificates and travel insurance. Travel insurance, although the travel insurance was available earlier, but the demand was not that. But after this COVID-19, there might be an increase in demand of travel insurance. There is an increase, and also there must be increase in domestic and sustainable tourism practices, as most of the countries have sealed their international borders, but the peoples they can go for domestic tourism practices. There might be a decrease in group travels, as the COVID-19 is basically spread through the gathering of people. So people they would like to go for individual travel trips instead of going for a group travels. Similarly, there must be a compulsory hygiene certification for the destination service providers. It might become a compulsory for the future, because the people who wants to go to visit a destination, it will build a confidence among the users as well as the visitors that they wherever they are going, they have going to a safe place for making holiday. Next, I would like to go for the sections which will help to revive the tourism after pandemics. The most important is the domestic tourism and inbound tourism, as most of the countries have sealed their border for international tourism. But uh, people, those who want to make holiday, they can go for an option of domestic tourism within their country. They explore their own places, and this will also help the stakeholders of tourism sector to revive their business. Next is rural tourism. If we talked about rural tourism, say the current situation of COVID-19, the most of the cases are found in the urban areas or the metropolitan cities. Say, but in terms of rural areas, they have a less effect in rural areas. So people they might want to visit the rural areas. Next, the gastronomy tourism. If we talked about the gastronomy tourism in India, the food habits are very good. If the spices, whatever we used, having some Ayurvedic values, and if we see the initiative by the government of India, Ayush Ministry of Ayush, that using of medicines, medicinal herbs in food become very important to combat this COVID-19 situation. So people might be interested in tasting the food of India. That would be a option for a gastronomy tourism. So business travels. Now business travels, most of the after this relaxation of lockdown, the people uh, they want to earn money. They want to earn money because this during the lockdown their economic situation going very low. So the business tourism business travel can be an option to earn money. And next is medical tourism. So now, if we see, the medical tourism is a prominent, very important in India. Since from 2014 till now, there is an increase of 55% of medical tourism in India. And even the government is also taking initiative in medical tourism. So, comparatively, if you see the COVID-19 cases, the recovery rate of India is very good, and which also puts the impact in medical tourism of India. Next, the awareness and societal participations. As we know, the tourism is a mutual participation between the guest and the host. So we need to understand the importance, the how we can aware the guest as well as the host about these situations, and how we can mitigate the demands of tourism. So we need to do the awareness in very high levels regarding this COVID-19, how it can spread or how we can protect ourselves from these situations. We need to show the SOPs, we need to follow the measures, we need to take the measures, we need to follow the SOPs which are related to very hygiene practices. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentations. Finally, as the earlier speaker already told that if there will be a mankind, that travel tourism will always be flourished. So it is the same from my side also. Thank you, Dhanush. Hello.
Yes, sir. Well, that was really amazing to hear about the travel tourism. What is going to update its next further points, and I really liked about your medical tourism or business tourism. How is travel going to implement? And I do have a question for you. How was travel and tourism going to control? Because we travel in groups, we travel family trips and a friend trip, and how the travel and tourism is going to control by not getting affected to people, and because traveling without groups is no fun. With traveling with social distance, how is that?
See, if I take the example of current situations, now we need to understand, we need to create a awareness among ourselves and among the tourist groups that this disease is very communicable if we travel in a group. And let's take an example of a tourist guide. Now there are virtual tourist guides are available in the destinations, which are like it's a computer, it's a mobile app or a tablet which can use as a guide, which will guide you the tourist to about the destinations, about the facilities available in the destination nearby the destinations. So the major thing is by creating awareness, we can protect our tourists as well as the destinations from COVID-19 effect.
That's really good to hear from your side, sir. And how does you think of sanitizing every bag and sanitizing every person from the place to place travel? And do you think the quarantine for 14 days and after the vaccination release on coronavirus, how do you think? Because it's a very long process, and human.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I was asking you about the travel industry has been sanitizing every bag, and it has been sanitizing every human who travels from one place to other. It is a very long process. Is there any alternative system which has been developed by our Indian government or a travel system saying that that can be a good process for getting tourists into more attractive ways and by reducing the time of sanitization?
So far, I don't think the government has any come up with such measure to decrease this time. But it is sure that by the end of this year, the government must come up with some measures which will reduce these things. But if we discuss about the vaccinations, as and when the vaccinations will arrive, the entire situation will change. Now the quarantine systems, even the sanitation, all will go on. So we need to, the current situation demand is this, the sanitation is must and the quarantine is very must. So we need to follow that only. Can't say that we need to avoid these things, because if we avoid these things, it will affect the entire community as well as the tourism industry, which is also already affected.
Yes, that was really
That's all.
informative. Thank you so much for being on Planet Tech Media House with the information on tours and travels. We really like the talk. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you, Plankton Media. Thank you, Dhanush.
Yes, sir. And now let's get back to the session again. We do have a next speaker who is Vimal Kumar, Associate Professor in HOD in Hospitality and Tourism at Team Lee Skills University. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dhanush. I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Good morning, everyone. and welcome all the panelists, all the participants in this webinar. It has been an excellent presentation at the moment. We've been listening to the speakers. My concern here is not exactly what has been shared. It is more of what we can do now and how can we move out of the box. We've been listening about all these stories, a lot of webinars happening, a lot of news reports coming in that this has happened, this has happened, this has happened, this is gloomy, this is not favorable. But then what is to be done? We have to think beyond it. We have to be prepared. And once our preparation mode starts on, we'll be able to recover soon. It can be simply narrated in a way that when you fall ill, if you're not well, and you don't take good food or a good diet, and you don't follow the pattern of medicines being offered, definitely you're not going to get well soon. So unless you start following that regime, following that routine, it will not come back. You will not come back soon. So similarly, with this situation of COVID, we have to think beyond what we have been doing here. So my topic here was what I suggested, that let us think beyond, outside the box. So in case of travel and tourism, what we can do is we need to think on different aspects of attracting people, different aspects of how do we take it forward from here. A good example is all the hotels, all the travel agents, all these tour operations have their guest history module. We refer to our guest history module only when a customer comes back to us and our system prompts that yes, there is this client who's come back, and that accordingly on the prompt issued by the system, we look back into the history, look back into what the customer's preferences were there, what were his likes or dislikes or her likes or dislikes, and then accordingly we take it forward. This is the right time to make use of the guest history procedures that we follow. Why can't we identify the elders in our guest list? The people with into that senior citizen category, the elders, or the people who've been visiting us for a regular mode, especially the elders. One note from the hotel, one note from the travel agent, that wishing them good luck, asking them how they are, and in case of any assistance, in case they need certain moral support, why can't we give it? So make use of the guest history, we already have it. Let us, as the hotels also, we need to find out the quality tourists. It's not that the tourists are bad or the travelers or the guests are bad or not following the different guidelines. There are certain issues which may crop up. Certain people may not be satisfied with certain issues. There'll be certain deferred payments. Why can't we identify people who've been wonderful guests with us? People who've been excellent in payments to the hotels, excellent in communicating with the hotel staff, with the travel agency staff. Let us get back to these people. Let us set them certain gratuities. Let them remember us once again. So let us make use of this guest history. And this was one. Then, as started by Swagata about the creative transformation, let us transform ourselves as students, as teachers, and as employees of organizations, as mentors. It is high time that we help our students transform their thought process, transform their behavior, their attitudes, their passion, and a transformation in the big picture is needed. Most of the students at this moment, most of the staff at the moment is not very hopeful. We as mentors, we need to counsel them each one by one. One-on-one, it's the only outcome here. If you want to get good results, we need to get in touch with them one-on-one. We have to identify these people. We have to ensure that the students, the staff that we have, the people we are managing are kept motivated. And on a regular basis, we have to tell them that yes, there is a positivity, there is a brightness, there is a bright light coming across. We have to just gear up ourselves. Right? One example was the guest history. Then if you talk about the facilities at the hotels, right, or even at the travel agency, where if you are going to pick up a guest on a travel tour, on a business, Why can't we carry the baggage sanitation facilities, the baggage sanitation equipment then and there? We pick up a guest from his or her place. Let the baggages be sanitized there. Let's offer them facilities for a self-sanitization. And similarly at the hotels also. The moment we have the guests here, though the travel is less, but whosoever is traveling, whosoever is moving at this time of COVID, let them be assured that we are giving them the best qualities. This is what will ensure that they keep coming back to us. There are people who are fond of traveling. I'm one of them. In fact, I'm sitting at the moment at my home, but far about almost 1,250 kilometers from my place, where I've been working at Vadodara. I drove down to 1,250 kilometers. So I'm a travel freak. But with that, on the way, that I could find was a lot of people traveling. So what best I could do was taking all the precautions. I was the only passenger in my car, just the driver. So what I did was, wherever I was finding students or individuals traveling on the way, I was picking them up, making them sit in the backside of the car, backseat of the car, taking them for about 15-20 kilometers, 50 kilometers, and then dropping them so that I pick up the next one. But this is not possible for everyone. So what we can do is, if you are fond of travel, you are wanting to travel a lot, you have a certain budget, happy to have that budget in this time of COVID. If you have that, why can't we identify people who are wanting to travel back, wanting to go back to their residences? Let us give them a journey. Let us give them a travel. Give them a ticket. We have to think beyond what is possible. From the hotels, a lot of hotels have been taken up by the state governments, by the central government as the COVID centers. Let the hotel also do it. Let us identify where we are located, what are our surroundings. A very simple gesture to take care of stray animals. We are already cooking food. Right? We are doing something or the other. Our chefs are there. Why can't we have a certain quantum of food prepared for the stray animals outside? Every hotel, every premises, every house has something or this like that. If you step outside of your gate, you'll find some stray animal. It may be a dog, it may be a cow, it may be anything. So let us take care of these. It gives you happiness. It gives you a lot of motivation that yes, I have done something which is very good. Let the hotels also offer meal packages to the people who live in and around the hotel premises. Though it is a little difficult in times of the budget inflow being limited, but we can have small meal packages. We can identify certain pocket. If there are 10 hotels in an area, let us all get together, identify a group of maybe 100 to 200 people who are there, who are in the need, who are being supported by the government, but a nominal support from our side would also be extended, which will be again a wonderful gesture. So each one of us taking care of 10 families or 10 individuals, we'll be able to do a lot. As Toffler said about 50 years ago, this was when this creative transformation, creative thinking was being written by Lutzer. Toffler once said that the time would come where capability would be the future trend instead of capability. That is what we need to learn. We have to cope with the situations. We have to learn. We have to stay with what is happening. Adaptability is different. Adaptability is the circumstances tell you something, you adopt to something. But capability is a little different, wherein you equip yourself without getting influenced by something else, somebody else. So your capability would be more important than your capability. You can be a wonderful manager, but if I am not able to take care of my staff, if I am not able to keep them motivated in a time of crisis, they would be leaving me. Whenever we reopen, whenever we are functional again, most of them will make a change. They'll prefer to get to a different manager. So let us cope up with that. Let us identify what we can do with these people, what we can do for these people, and what best can be worked out. If you look at the brighter sides of COVID, nature has triumphed. It has revived itself. A classic example is the river Ganges. We've been spending millions, and the all effort was in vain. But within 30 to 35 days, at most of the places, the water became potable. That is something which has come up very positive. This makes us to learn that these things can be taken care of. And let us look at these things also. Luxury hotels for avid travelers would be a little cheaper. Being the brands, being leading brands, there are times when we'll have to go down the packages, we'll have to roll out different packages for our travelers, for our tourists, for our guests. And this will definitely increase the base of the guests that we are having. We'll be offering people to afford a higher price room at a lower package. Let us inculcate, let us teach them that yes, these are the facilities available at a lower price. Once they get used to it, definitely that is how we do in the different businesses. Once your customer gets used to your product, there are times when you can get into a nominal increase, or the customer himself or herself gets into that mode of learning and experiencing. So that experiential learning is coming across. The concept of homestays, the concept of camping, the concept of outside trips, shorter trips, smaller trips is definitely going to catch on. So let the hotel be prepared for camping sites. Let the hotel be prepared for smaller trips from outside the hotel. Why can't we have packages wherein if we have a beautiful location near our hotel, we are into a scenic location, not into a metropolitan setup where it is difficult. Let us offer packages wherein we have, if you book the hotel for 3 days, you stay at the hotel for 2 days, and 1 day will take you on a camping trip. We have to think on these things. Let us think beyond what is possible. That is what I always tell my students also, tell my people also. I think beyond what is possible. Choices and flexibility was definitely increase, even for the guests, for the students, for managers, and for ourselves also. We'll have more choices. A definite change because of a lot of restrictions happening and a lot of values reviving back. The travel to your hometown will increase. This is again an opportunity for the people in your local hometowns, local areas, in your states to get back to a lot of businesses. Let us go back, stay with these people, prefer whatever is locally available, promote these people into our circles. There are certain specialties with the different locations. Wherever we go in India, it might be a special edible item, it might be a special handicraft item, it could be anything. As a responsible citizen, as a contributor to our hometowns, let us identify these things, let us identify these domains, and let us promote through our own mediums. Let us use social media. There may be these people, there may be these brands, there may be these specialities which may not be able to afford to go on a marketing spree. Let us do it for them. So let us think beyond, let us think creative. And over to you, Dhanesh. Thank you so much.
That was really informative to have a very good talk with you, sir. That was really informative. I really like the insights about what traveling industry is going right now. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
Everybody's saying that travel and tourism industry is in a threat. Do you think this is going to continue post-COVID? Because everybody's scared where would they get affected with coronavirus because of the crisis which we're running right now. How would the industry grow up, and what is the insights are you going to give with a short note?
As far as I'm concerned, that is what I said, that people are scared of traveling. Right? But then once they are assured that wherever they are traveling to, whatever mode they are using is safe, travel is bound to bounce back. Right? It will not take a long time to get back to its wheels. We have to ensure that whatever mode we are offering for travel, whatever mode we are using for travel, whatever facilities we are offering for the people to come and stay, wherever we are offering food, wherever we are offering drinks, only assurance to be given to the people is that, yes, you are safe, you will be taken care of. Once this confidence is instilled, once this confidence is given to the travelers, given to the people who are moving out, who are planning to travel. Definitely, there are people who are planning to travel, who are getting stuck, who are there at the residences and they're wanting to move out. Even business travelers, even corporate travelers, there are. But the corporate travel or business travel would only happen when the hotel would be able to instill confidence, when the travel modes will be able to instill confidence. And that is where the government role is coming. It is giving sort of inputs on what can be done, there are different regulations coming in. Let us start with that. FSSAI has come out with the guidelines for the hotels. So let us stick to these guidelines. Let us change our priorities from only earning money and taking care of the people to earning money, making them safe, and then make it enjoyable for the people. The travel definitely is going to bounce back, and I don't foresee that it will take much longer. Like there was a question about people traveling in groups, that if you don't travel in a group, what happens? There's no charm. The only change that would come in is that if you're traveling as a group, maybe we are a group of about, say, 10 people traveling together. So we'll have to go for a bigger vehicle, or the number of, if you're traveling in smaller vehicles, it will change to a different number of vehicles. Instead of traveling in 2 vehicles, we'll be traveling in 3 or 4. Thereby, you're giving back a lot to the economy, though the expense would go up, definitely. But then you're traveling together, wherever you are sitting down, wherever you are taking food, wherever you are going out for a creative activity, you all get together, but you travel safe. Hope this answers, Tarush?
Yes, sir, that was really informative. It was really amazing too. How do you think, how was the impact on tourism and travels? Because all the schools and colleges shut, and there's a lot of impact which happened to everybody who can't travel. And there was a happy tourism before, and how is it actually going on right now?
See, right now the travel, we have come to a standstill almost. But then after the lockdown being eased, after the unlock happening, a lot of movement has started. The state governments have started flying the buses. Local city area travel is also starting. Somewhere there are places where there are talks for the local train services to start off. But then impact is there, definitely there.
Do you
The
think
schools
all
have-
these things are safe? Do you think all these things safe of traveling with even amount of social distancing, because coronavirus can stay up anywhere? Do you think it's safe traveling right now?
See, right now with the precautions, it is safe. I would only say that. That is what I've been insisting on, that unless we are assured by the transport operator that it is safe to travel. See, the corona or this COVID has come across as a bigger impact compared to what SARS was there, what MERS was there, as Lalita ma'am said. It was there. But then there are times when you have to start learning, you have to start living with these things. Unless we start living with these things, unless we start learn to stay with this and practicing all the hygiene and hygiene regulations and safety procedures, it will be difficult. Though people are scared that if you travel by bus, if you travel by some other mode, it will not be safe. That psychosis is there, fear psychosis is there. Fear of travel is the biggest that we have. That it's not only fear of travel, it is fear of getting something, picking up something from the vehicle, picking up something from the fellow traveler. So this is where people are skeptical about traveling to a longer distance. They are preferring travel in their own vehicles. The car travel has gone up. Passengers using their own modes of travel has gone up. Even as the students who have been stuck at places, even our places, the students preferred to hire a taxi and then move across. Though they had the option that they could pick up some other mode of travel also.
Yes,
The
sir,
school
absolutely.
buses, definitely the school buses are at standstill, right? And it could be, I don't know whether the schools would take it up or not, but if we are getting students on board, we are getting people there, we don't actually invite them to the school, but there are a certain number of staff being invited to the colleges also, to the universities. There are some people going on there. Maybe a minimum scale of 10% or 5%, but whatever it is there. If we can offer our school buses for our people to travel, if we can offer our buses, our mode of travel for them, definitely it will instill confidence.
Correct, sir. I would really agree with the points which you have been mentioned about. It was great having you on a platform of Planetech Media House. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Dhanush. Thank you so much, Niranjan and Planetech Media, for giving this opportunity and presenting my views. Though for a lot of people will be a little different, but then this is how it has to be. This is what
Yes.
I've been practicing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And now let's get back to the non-speaker of a webinar, who's Abhimanyu Avasti, Assistant Professor in Hospitality and Tourism, Amity University of Hospitality at Gurgaon, Amity University, Haryana. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dhanush. Thank you for giving the opportunity. And I would also like to thank you, Mr. Niranjan Krishnamurthy from Planetech Media, for giving this opportunity to participate in this webinar. And I would like to apologize in advance just because of not having video, because of having some technical issue at my side. But yes, through audio, I will be connected, and I was connected. And I would like to thank Ms. Swagata, Ms. Lalita Madam, Mr. H.K. Roy, and Vimal Sir for having said all the important thoughts, issues, and possible solutions. And my talk will be the extension to what these learned fraternity members of the industry, they have already talked about. And as we know that COVID-19 is already on its path of disrupting and damaging world economies, the economy of India is also not unaffected. Impact of Corona on Indian economy, tourism, and other parts of tourism is a very critical stage. And most importantly, I would like to mention medical tourism, which is being hit at large, is one of the major area of concern apart from the other sections of tourism in India. So when we talk about this pandemic and this COVID-19, what is the need of the hour? So I have derived some important pointers as need of the hour. The need of the hour is to derive optimism out of negative of COVID-19, like Vimal sir just mentioned, think beyond and out of the box. Further, there is a need to study effect of Corona on tourism and specifically on Indian tourism, which also creates a need to promote responsible tourism along with the improvement and surety from the government for medical tourism. When we talk about COVID-19 and its effects, there are some major impacts. The two major impacts are health and economy, which leads us for a responsible tourism methodology or a strategy. It was found out in a study that developed nations and developing economies, they both are projected to recover in 2021 partially. In this, India's medical tourism industry could have grown by 200% by 2020, hitting $9 billion according to the Ministry of Tourism's figures, which was pre the start of COVID-19. In 2015, as per the Ministry of Tourism, in 2015, India ranked as the third most popular destination for medical tourism, when the industry was worth $3 billion. In the same year, 234,000 foreign tourists came on medical visa into the country. So we can see that India as a medical tourism hub had done well and still has a lot of opportunity if our government put a lot of attention to it. And India is also considered a destination with a high quality of treatment, with reasonably low cost in comparison with Western countries. And this made our country a big hub for medical tourism. And as we know, medical tourism is dependent on global transport and travel status. Whereas it was predicted that global medical tourism industry's worth will be approximately 45 billion US dollar, and India alone was a market of approximately 9 billion US dollar. So that is why government must focus on this part of tourism, which is medical tourism, in context with Indian tourism. And most importantly, if we want to contain and control this pandemic, testing is very much important of this COVID-19. So government ought to provide more subsidized COVID-19 testing to informal sector and middle class sector. We have also seen that there is a reduction in production volumes, a significant decrease in revenue of airlines and maritime transport, shopping and entertainment centers, the tourism industry specifically, and then it leads to the decrease in the population's income. It was also found out in the study that the growth rate of the world's economy is already decreasing from 2.5% to 0.6%. That this economic situation will be close to a recession. The losses of the world economy can reach 2.7 US dollar, 2.7 trillion US dollar. And this will lead to the decrease in the forest investment inflow, which will be a major hit for our country also. As we have seen that the disruption in Indian tourism is due to the policies such as social distancing, home quarantine, closure of business organization, closure of public facilities, restrictions on movement and lockdown. And so Indian economy, which was already in a weak state, has gone again down with slow moving growth and high liability levels. But the good thing is that if we go as per the studies, it is already said that developed nations and developing economies both are projected to recover in 2021 partially. So, and most importantly, India being a major medical tourism hub, our accreditation firms must focus on the quality of healthcare system, which will provide assurance with new normal conditions to international clients which we are targeting. Now, if we talk about some possible solutions, a need for making informed decisions by the governments in close cooperation with leading experts, the corporate sector and the population should pursue an effective socio-economic policy both during the quarantine and after its completion. It is already said, but I'm again re-mentioning that government should bail out tourism industry and other sectors. It will include granting loan repayment waiver and moratorium to business and soft loans with low interest rate. As India is still a potential world player of air transport for intake of medical tourism in form of foreign visitors, so government intention and zeal must be displayed in bailout and revival of defunct airlines like Jet Airways, which can again support the cause by adding capacity. Government should make a structure of revival based on rule, which means that it will be equally applicable to all the sectors of the economy, keeping responsible tourism in mind. And also I would stress that the government should again focus on the revival plan of informal labor sector. So with these notes, I would like to conclude. Thank you. Over to you, Dhanush.
That was really informative on your talk about the impacts of COVID on travel and tourism. And it was really impressive to get good information from your side too, sir. And I do have a question for you. What do you suggest for the improvement of medical sector?
I would suggest that re-standardization with a new normal view into the healthcare system, solely keeping in mind for medical business enterprise, like you can say, for example, hospitals, so that we can attract and showcase responsible medical tourism to international patients.
That was really impressive on the question which I have asked, and you do have another question. What should be the major focus areas to improve in tourism in India?
See, I have two major points to tell on this question. There is a need for revolution of communities into tourism destination. So there are very, very good communities which can be converted into tourism destination, creating a new product, tourism product for clients and guests. And then the priority should be on development of domestic tourism first at present, keeping this current situation in mind. Over to you, Dhanush.
That was really amazing to have you here. Thank you for the informative session here. It was really pleasant to have you on a platform of Planetech Media House. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dhanush.
Yes. Now let's get back to Lalita Krishnamurthy ma'am, who have missed the question and answer session. I do have one question for you, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Yes, Dhanush.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure whether I completed you. You could hear me saying thank you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me.
Well, you being a HOD of a travel and tourism department.
I was.
Yes, 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 and hospitality management. How do you give the strength to every student out there who's pursuing travel and tourism course, saying that it's going to be a threat post COVID or it's going to be a beautiful future post COVID? What are your views on this?
As I told you in my talk, travel and tourism is a field which will not cease its existence as long as the mankind survives. It is the hiccup. It has gone into an ICU, but it is definitely going to robustly bounce back. It is an industry which will not cease. As long as mankind survives, there is going to be travel. There is no activity of a man without mobility. So mobility is travel, and traveling is, it's an inbuilt nature because traveling results in growth of economy. Traveling results in, it's a multiplier effect. Travel and tourism has got multiplier effects. There are various factors connected with travel and tourism. It's not just tourism going and seeing places or going for a holiday merrymaking. You have a local transportator, you have hotel, you have restaurants, you have handicrafts and souvenirs shops surviving, you have the local artisan survival, you have the restaurant survival, and it is a chain reaction. So invariably, man has to move from one place to another. He will not be stagnated, and he cannot be in a lockdown scenario working from home within the four walls for all the time. It's a matter of fact that we will bounce back, and generally human beings are more stronger than virus. We will win corona.
For sure, for sure. We will all be winning Corona and having a
And
life.
I would like to add here that the students, when they join the hospitality course, the minimum course is 3 years. By the time they complete 3 years, economy will be back to robust and activities will be back to normal. So it is easy to convince them and make them join. But right now, they are in a turmoil. They don't know when their 12th exam is going to be over. They don't
Correct.
know when the college is going to open. And we are to be little skeptical about online classes, though we handle online classes. Today, I was let down very badly by internet. There was a power snap, and the internet went and came back. And these hiccups are bound to happen in Indian scenario, but still, ultimately, we will come over that
Yes,
impact.
yes, ma'am. For sure, every human will be having a great fight against the virus of
I
Corona.
like to add one more word, Dhanush.
Yes, yes,
Due
ma'am.
to tsunami and earthquake, Japanese economy took a heavy beating, and everybody predicted that they would take about 8 years to bounce back, but they
Right.
bounced back in 8 months.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Similarly, in travel and tourism industry, we will bounce back much earlier than what the people are expecting or what WTO has predicted. But right now, the industry is going through a turmoil which it has not witnessed for centuries.
Yes, ma'am, that was really informative. And I would like to mention once again saying that we all humans will surely win the virus of Corona and we'll all get back to our lives normally. But I have a question for you saying that an average person, an average earning person who travels once in a while, the hospitality which every restaurant, every lodge or anything to staying is providing right today, and it will be increasing their charges because of the sanitization every person lives. Corona is going to stay for around, like, I would say around like 2 years. It will stay even if you're out of the threat, but coronavirus will be there with human beings for amount of 2 years extended. How are you going to say about this hospital management things working down?
When you see a horror movie on the first occasion, you get frightened. Second occasion, the level of percentage comes down.
Right.
Subsequently, if you see, you know what is the next scene and you will be cool.
Yes.
Similarly, this corona impact, now it is being projected as a devil. with the recovery rate increasing, our confidence level will build up and normalcy will come back. The government should, it will take little time for the government to operate everything, and once they remove the lockdown, people will bounce back.
Yes, yes, for sure. Everybody will bounce back, and I hope.
The fact is, when people start bouncing back and when the normalcy comes, there's too many sanitizers and too many fetish stuffs will automatically take a back seat in Indian scenario.
That's for true. That's for true, mom. That's for true.
Let me tell you one thing. We have heard and we have read about so many pandemics, Spanish flu, smallpox, cholera, even airborne diseases. But we were not being panicked with one PPE, face cover, mask, X, Y, Z. It is, sometimes it makes individual think whether the China gave an instruction to WHO that this is a very bad virus, all have to be like a cage so that everything goes into lockdown. And when the lockdown happens, everybody's economy comes down. And when everybody's economy comes down, he can come like a big brother for death trap.
Correct. Correct. I wish we fight this virus and travel and tourism to normal sites.
Mr. Dhanush, one more I want to say.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Especially in Indian scenario, I do agree with the Westerners. They are little finicky. Even when bird flu, they would be very, very skeptical. But in Indian scenario, our basic resistance level is much higher, and we never used to bot down like this. And this is a psychosis, fear psychosis. And with the recovery rate percentage being very high, I'm sure this psychosis would come down and naturality would come back. And
Right.
Things like what Mr. Vimal Kumar was saying, things will recover faster. But operating one bus, a mini bus for a group of 10, the cost would go up. So generally what will happen, that when the fear psychosis comes down, that is the time the tourism will pick up.
Yes, ma'am. For
Because
sure.
if you operate a bigger vehicle for two people, if you operate an Innova for two people to go, the cost is going to go up. Like what you said, an average family man who is going on a holiday will be worried about the cost factor also, because everybody have taken an economic beating due to this pandemic lockdown.
Correct, ma'am. You were really informative about the talk. And one small short note from your side for all the tours and travel industry sectors and the schools and for everybody. How would you give a short note to say stay strong?
You're asking me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. The travel and tourism will never cease. It will bounce back double the speed, and it will, if it is it has contributed 10 GDP all over globally all these years, it would bounce back to 12 to 14% GDP. And the young students who had a passion for travel and tourism, don't be disheartened. Please do join. You will complete your 3 years. By the time you complete your 3 years of undergraduate course, the industry will be booming and everything will be back to normalcy.
Good. That's really good to hear. And any other panelists want to have any questions, or you guys want to interact with any other speaker? You just have 5 minutes more. Vimal sir, do you have any questions to Lalita ma'am or HK Roy sir? Or Lalita ma'am, you can ask any questions to the other panelists.
Swadhika?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
I liked your idea of carrying out your activity as a practical class for the students.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
It's an innovative, no doubt, but as a student, practically visualizing it and experimenting and showing it to you would be much better than actually doing it on online. Practical on online may not be that effective in reality, I suppose.
Definitely, ma'am. When we talk about virtual classes, especially in the Indian scenario, when we are brought up in a system jahan pe we have to go to the classrooms, we need to have a interaction, we need to have a eye-to-eye contact, we need to motivate our students by being present with them. In that scenario, only a virtual learning is not going to do 100% justice to the entire education system. But saying that, right now, having this scenario around us, we need to develop a system, we need to develop some strategies which will help our education system to go in a better version. So like we have to come up with solution. If we talk about only the problems, and if we talk about, we know that there is so much negativity around us right now. Everyone is stressed. There are so much job losses. Everything is going around. But if we focus on the problem, and if we don't come up with some solutions to do, at least to give 60% to our students, because this time they are sitting idly at home. If we don't do something which will make them engaging, because I see that these students, this young generation, they are very, very foodie. They are watching all those celebrity chefs online. They are watching all their shows and everything. And they are very much interested into food. So even if they give 15%, 20% and utilize this time, instead of sitting and just listening to your lectures and listening to the technical part, at least they're giving a try. They are trying to work on their skills. So that will benefit them in the long run. The taste part, even if a immature chef is trying to cook something for the first time, you are not going to get the taste part. It is going to gradually develop, and it takes time. Even for me, even for any person who is into this industry, it takes time. But at least if you try, if you start with some basics, like cutting of vegetables, which is a very basic thing, which we generally do. Agar aapko khana banana pasand hai, if you're a foodie, even when we go to the kitchen, we start with some basic things. So at least when they're giving it a try, they're trying to do it on their hand, they are getting some exposure. Maybe they're wrong, maybe they're right, but that will be coming up gradually. So instead of idly sitting and doing nothing, we can utilize this time, we can give as much as we can. Yes, the input has to be much more higher. Jo pehle hum dete the before this pandemic happened, the input has to be 100%, 120% more than that, because you need to really motivate them. And as youngsters, they are very fluctuating. They go here and there. They don't know exactly in which direction they should go. So at least if you try to create that trigger, you try to trigger that that skills inside them, that that urge of knowing something inside them, so they can utilize this time. And when they come back, they will be at a much better state. They will be able to grab the things much better when they are going to come back to the practical classroom.
Thank you.
That was really amazing to hear about.
Because what I felt is, in a practical classroom scenario itself, I think Mr. Vimal Kumar would agree with me. Now, even a practical classroom scenario on an 1 hour lecture, if you can actually get a quality attention of the students for 3 to 4 minutes, you're lucky, your day is done.
Exactly,
Very true,
ma'am.
ma'am. Very true.
So
Myla,
that
I would
being
like to
the
add on to
scenario,
this.
the concept of getting the work done without knowing whether they have literally carried out the practicality in the home scenario at their thing, because half the time we tell them to switch off the mic audio, because the noise around them should not be disturbing us. And then video, getting their 100% attention would be quite a challenging task for all of us. And life is a challenge. Necessity is mother of invention. We would do something for this also.
Definitely,
Ma'am, I
ma'am.
would like to add on to this.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
have we've done a very small experiment.
Yeah.
We've divided our practicals into very small tasks. For example, whether it is a cookery practical or service practical, FMB service practical, or a housekeeping practical, what we have done is we have given them a shape of celebrations. In a way that my chef is in fact on the is online also. What we've done is that we inform the students that it may be, for example, it's a cookery practical. We are doing maybe samosas tomorrow. So what we do is we share the recipe, we share it with them one day prior to that, and then we tell them that we have to get your family around you, go to your kitchen, keep all the things ready. And when we start in the morning, we cook together. So the chef, the trainer, and the students, all of them start together, they start preparing. And this has resulted into a wonderful interaction between the students, a wonderful interaction with the college. And similarly, the parents at home. So this situation has made everybody gloomy. They also feel very happy that yes, my child is doing something, they're performing in front of them. So this experiment has come to us like a boom. It has livened up these things, and students are more happy, parents are happy, they're satisfied that yes, something constructive is going on. Similarly, if you want to do a service practical, you have requested that you may not be having a dining table at your place, but if you all sit down on the floor and have food, like we also have food, we're sitting down on the floor. So we tell them, when you're sitting down on the floor, let the family be there, prepare your lunch, and then set it up like a table, the way we are serving it.
Yeah,
and from there, sitting from your place, you do it.
Some of the scenarios may not be everything like practical scenarios what we offer. As you say, it is correct. Many of the Indian houses, they still have food on the floor.
Yes. So we started with that I will tell them that you set it up on the floor itself. You set up your thalis, you set up your banana leaves, everything like that, thinking that the floor is a dining table. And then you start serving, then you start interacting with the people, telling them this is the menu for the day, this is the dish, this is how this is prepared, this is what is specialty today. The dish might have been prepared by the mother, but then the student has to explain. So this has changed a lot. All of them are a little happy, they are more happy, they are waiting for these tasks to be given.
That's very interesting. Nice to hear that.
I also like to add up a point, being as a student, where monitoring face-to-face interaction is different, is totally from a virtual face-to-face interaction. Because 1 hour session, like how Lalita ma'am mentioned about a 1 hour session in a classroom, we students try to concentrate at least for 5 to 10 minutes. That is where you succeeded. But during the virtual classroom, how are we going to do it? Because it's tough for us. Me being a student, this is my viewpoint about the virtual system which is happening right today. It doesn't mean about tours and travel course. It's all about every course. It's getting tougher day by day.
Well, Dhanush, I would like to add one thing. In a factor like hospitality, setup of a cooking or a bed laying, I agree with what Swagata or Mr. Vimal is saying, because the fact if they are doing it at home, the people would be more than happy. Okay, you cook some dish and give me, let me taste it, because nothing is available in the lockdown outside. Second point, you lay the bed and you redo the room and you clean it. It's a help for me. Please do it. And they would encourage them to do it. But unlike a zoology or some other practical, it will not be easy to carry out practical at
yes, ma'am.
Online virtual class.
Correct. I agree to
that. Is where our students are lucky, ma'am.
You're right.
Me being engineering student, I'm not lucky.
Well, I am not into hospitality. I only handle travel and tourism.
That's good.
But I did handle Hunar Se Roadstar training program for about 50 students in coordination with IHM Bangalore. And that is the time I have seen what all cooking and bakery and other things. We used the home science lab for that, and we trained those students when we got the opportunity to train the students from Department of Tourism. So we do that. And otherwise, my course per se is travel and tourism totally. We concentrate on travel and tourism, travel and tour operators training, airport handling, ground handling, and all those stuff. And we limit our equation to the front office and sales of the hotel because of a space constraint in our building to expand another kitchen and other units for one more lab in additional to home science.
That is really good to hear about all the speakers.
Thank you so much. I would like to add on that this is an opportune time.
I can't hear.
This is an opportune time. This is an opportune time for our students, ma'am. is an opportunity for our students, because this is the time where normally what happens is we are going through our regular academic schedule, regular subjects that we are learning, and the normal study pattern is followed. But this is an appropriate time where there are a lot of certifications happening related to safety, related to hygiene, related to good practices in hoteliering, good practices in tour management, travel operations. These are all an opportunity for the students to go along with these courses. And I would suggest all the students, whether they are into their first year, second year, third year, or about to join, or maybe the students who've been working but are now at home, is the right time to get into these courses. Get these short-term certifications. And for example, a FSSAI certification or a food safety certification would open up a new venture for them. Right? It's not only the regular operations. They can get into hygiene audits, they get into food audits, safety audits. This is the time where we can enhance our skills, we can add on to our skill sets. Even for us also, like I have also done about 6 or 7 certifications regarding all these in this period. Whatever was there, but redoing it again was add-on.
We have to make the negativity to positivity.
Yes. So
And
a good time for students to get with
have
this.
enrolled for many of the foreign language courses, and they have gone into additional courses,
Job roles.
short-term courses, 3 weeks, 3 months. They are also
A lot of information being spread from all the speakers. It's time to conclude the session of a panel discussion. It's great to have. And I'll be giving the conclusion note. All speakers fine?
Definitely, please
Yes,
go ahead.
definitely.
Yeah, please.
I would like to thank all the panelists for spending your valuable time with Planetech Media House on a topic, the webinar, Tours and Travels. Thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon. Thank you so much. Signing off, Dhanush Deva.
Thank you so much. Have a nice.
Thank you so much.
nice meeting
Thank
you
you
all.
so much. Nice
Pleasure
meeting you all.
We'll keep on
Pleasure
interacting,
meeting you
I
all.
suppose.
Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes.
let's be in touch.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much.